Austin Reaves turns down a max extension offer from the Lakers. Meanwhile, both the Lakers and Clippers turn to projects in the second round of the NBA draft, and the Kings might have a drastically different blue line next season. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is June 27, 2025. Welcome back to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA Sports. By the time you see this clip, I'm going to be on a plane heading north for work. Hopefully it will not catch fire. I am not on American Airlines today. But if you like being in the know about LA Sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 3, Colorado 1. Clayton Kershaw is now just 3 strikeouts away from 3,000. Meanwhile, the Dodger magic number slips to 76. Also, the Sparks snap a 4-game losing streak. They defeated Indiana 85-75. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Kansas City at 5. So, with that out of the way, let's get to the news. And I realize everybody wants to talk about who's coming in the NBA draft. For grown-ass men, this is the equivalent of Christmas morning, all the drafts. It's like unwrapping a new gift or whatever. But that is not even close to the most important news of the day for the Lakers. Not even. It's Austin Reaves, the guy who just a couple of weeks ago was like, oh, I want to spend my entire career in purple and gold. I loves me some LA. He just turned down a max contract offer. 4 years, $89 million. To which he looked at it and said, nope. Now, understand, I'm not trying to say that he wants out of LA. He is going to have that right as a free agent at the end of next season. He can opt out, see if he can cash in on something more. But how much more space would the Lakers actually have, seeing as how they are always up against the evil second apron of the salary cap? So this does not sound particularly optimistic. I'm not saying he's gone. I'm saying this is something to keep your eye on. After all, he is coming off a career year, having built himself up from an undrafted nobody from Oklahoma into the legit third option on the Laker offense. So there is no insult intended here. But since the Lakers had previously called the guy untouchable in the trade market, could he be touchable now? Could he? Especially next season when the trade deadline comes up, if you don't really have him locked down by then, if you don't have a solid idea if you can afford him by then. And besides that, yeah, he was their third option, but if you remember, he was terrific in the regular season. Then against Minnesota, he looked like D'Angelo Russell with a bowl haircut. Something to keep your eye on. As for the draft, the Lakers acted suspiciously like the Dodgers and traded up twice in the second round, from 55 all the way up to 36, to land forward Adu Thiero of Arkansas. Multiple scouting reports raved about his tools. Oh, this guy, he has all the tools. Tools on top of tools. He is like a Home Depot in human flesh. That is scribe speak for we don't know what this guy excels at. They think he has possibilities, they just don't know. They just don't know. One thing we know he needs to improve on is his outside shooting. He only sank about 28% of his threes in college. Now, I'm not projecting too much. This is just a wild guess. I think they see his athleticism, and I'm expecting him to be perimeter defensive help. I mentioned, by the way, this transaction was Dodger-like. Now, what do I mean? It's because when the Dodgers make trades for relievers in the minors, you know, they'll trade with Minnesota, they'll trade with Boston, they'll bring in a reliever just to eat up a couple of innings. But the Dodgers don't send players back. They send cash. So the Lakers literally paid 2 teams just to move up to get this guy. This is not a move the Buss family would have okayed before. They wouldn't. The Lakers are the family business. Or at least they were until Dodger owner Mark Walter flashed $10 billion in front of everybody. Those trades have Mark Walter's fingerprints all over it. Telling Rob Pelinka, hey, if you want to move up, you go right ahead. I'll scratch the check. The Lakers also signed Villanova's Eric Dixon to a 2-way contract after the draft concluded. Dixon led all of college basketball in scoring last year, including sinking more than 41% of his threes. So there's a lot of Laker news to talk about. Feel free to let me know what you think. As for the Clippers, they edged up in the second round to pick Kobe Sanders of Nevada at 50. The dude didn't average double figures in scoring, though, until his senior year. So this is not exactly an elite prospect. This is somebody who built himself up over time to kind of be a college scoring threat. And we were talking yesterday about Clipper draft history. You know, they used to be a perennial lottery team, obviously. Now they've made the playoffs, I think, for an entire decade in a row. And now their draft picks do not get playing time. They don't. So you put all that and you think about it, I don't see this guy making it out of the G League unless he gets traded somewhere else. No disrespect. It's just how it seems to me. As for the local schools, nobody from UCLA or USC was selected in the NBA draft. Speaking of drafts, I know the NHL draft starts today. But how does that impact the Kings? We don't know. They don't pick until 24th. By that time, there's going to be so many elite prospects off the board, the Kings could go in any direction. So, that is not the big story that's brewing with the Kings right now. See, because new general manager Ken Holland increased the offer to defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov, but the player refused. Holland told the Orange County Register, quote, Rob Blake had made an offer, and I went beyond that offer. And so now we are continuing to talk, and I think I made another offer. So we'll see, unquote. Gavrikov matters. On multiple top NHL free agent lists that I've seen, Gavrikov is consistently in the top 8. Multiple rankings list him as the second best defenseman in the upcoming free agent class. Weeks ago, the belief was it would cost the Kings $7 million to keep him. Now it's up to $8 million. Who knows how much higher it's going to get? And it does have the possibility of a domino effect where the Kings' defensive structure is entirely rebuilt. Look, they need that defense to be elite. Why? Because the Kings haven't found a long-term replacement for Jonathan Quick in the first place. They've had, 4, 5 different starters in as many years? It goes beyond Phoenix Copley and big save Dave Rittich. You're talking Eunice Korpisalo, Cam Talbot, Darcy Kemper. So when you don't have stability in net, you need competence on the blue line to pick up the slack. And Gavrikov did show competence in spades last season. He stepped up when Kings legend Drew Doughty broke his ankle, and there wasn't a significant drop-off in how effective the defense performed. The dude played a career-high 23 minutes per game. He was in the top pairing with Mikey Anderson. Holland told The Athletic there was, quote, wonderful chemistry, unquote, between the two. So, what happens on the top pairing? It's probably, you would want Gavrikov, you would definitely want him on the second pairing. But now there were reports that in Holland's mind, he doesn't like smaller defensemen. So does that mean it's a coin flip between keeping Jordan Spence or Brent Clark? Spence's playing time was slashed by the end of last season. Now, Holland said the priority for the entire offseason is keeping Gavrikov. But after that, what happens? And what happens if you lose him? You're talking about potentially rebuilding an elite defensive unit, the second and the third pairings, possibly from scratch. Anything the foreign soccer press reports should be treated with profound skepticism. Okay? But the BBC is claiming that LAFC is considering Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou to replace Steve Cherundolo. And I should say former Tottenham manager. Cherundolo announced about a month ago he would leave the black and gold at the end of the MLS season. Postecoglou was run out by Spurs after they won the Europa League final. I should say Europa League final. Forgive me, it's early in the morning. Getting fired after winning a cup sounds like a raw deal until you realize Tottenham finished 17th in the Premier League. Had they finished one slot lower, Tottenham would have been relegated, which is an unthinkable outcome considering they play in a stadium that cost $1.6 billion to construct. By the way, as to the validity of the story, nobody is saying that LAFC has even called the guy. So I'm keeping this story out there, but I wouldn't put any faith in it. Rams defensive lineman Kobe Turner was asked where the team needs to improve on defense, and he did not hesitate to give the most obvious answer. Quote, "What killed us was a lot of the big plays, particularly a lot of the big runs. If you really look at a lot of those games where we gave up a bunch of rushing yards, it wasn't every single play they were getting a bunch of yards. It was a couple of those plays where we fit up wrong, or a couple of those plays where we maybe got caught out. It's about minimizing those big plays," unquote. Totally obvious. Now understand, I'm not trying to clown Turner for his answer. I'm wondering if the scribe who asked the question watched any Rams games last year. You didn't know? What was your follow-up question? "Dude, I heard this Saquon Barkley guy is pretty good. Care to comment?" Chargers right tackle Joe Alt is poised to have a breakout season, according to Pro Football Focus, or PIF. They claim that from week 10 to the end of the season, Alt's pass protection grades were the second best in the league, behind only Lane Johnson of Philadelphia. They think if Rashawn Slater ever gets injured, the Bolts would not hesitate to switch Alt to the left side, and they wouldn't even have an issue with it. Twin wide receivers Jerron and Keenan Pula were among the first players to pledge with UCLA football for the class of 2026, and now they're the first two to break their promise. Here's the upshot. They're from Utah, and the Utes asked them over for some punch and pie. I'm not sure how much of a panic there should be over this. It is true that Jerron Pula is a 4-star prospect, but the first 4 commits the Bruins had were all wide receivers. So there's still some depth there. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about what you think this means for Austin Reaves having turned down that max extension. And what are your grades for the Lakers and Clippers after the NBA draft? And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Can Cortel Queso production. Take care.